The 1990s were a golden era for science fiction cinema. But for every great and popular film, there were several underrated ones. Lesser known, lower budget, or films that were so bad and silly, they were actually good. Let's talk about 5 of those. A group of ordinary loggers encounters strange glowing lights. Their first and only impulse is to get a closer look, which leads to one of them, Travis Walton, disappearing. They immediately report the abduction to the sheriff and local residents. But no one believes that a huge spaceship took a man away, and an investigation begins. However, these events are nothing compared to what happens when the abducted man is found. Well acted and skillfully directed, Fire in the Sky is reminiscent of Close Encounters of the Third Kind or later abduction films like The Fourth Kind. The film takes its time to unfold, but when the climax hits, the wait is fully worth it. Overall, it's a rare example of a serious and well-crafted alien abduction movie. 2 years before Jurassic Park, screenwriter David Koepp first dipped his toes into sci-fi with this film. Dark Angel is somewhat like Predator 2 set on the streets of Texas. Dolph Lundgren plays a cop who, after a series of murders, tracks down illegal drug dealers. However, the investigation takes an unexpected turn when he discovers that the murders are being committed by an alien. The alien hunts people with addictions, killing them to extract endorphins and create a substance to sell on his home planet. Lundgren's efforts to stop this bloody alien startup weren't critically acclaimed, and the film doesn't offer much in terms of originality, but it holds value as a product of its time. One of the best things about the movie is Lundgren's performance. Yes, he's fun to watch during fight scenes, but his attempts at being serious or romantic are simply wonderful. Of course, if you're looking for sci-fi to be a high-art experience, this film is best skipped. But if, along with your love for sci-fi nostalgia, you also have a soft spot for action films of that era, this one will definitely be interesting. After experiencing a personal tragedy, Karen sets off on a road trip through Texas. When her car breaks down, a married couple offers her a ride, and soon after, Karen becomes a witness to a murder. Trying to escape her pursuer, she stumbles upon a government facility where time travel experiments are taking place, and she realizes this could be her chance to prevent the tragedy. The only problem is that every attempt she makes to fix things only makes the situation worse. The film truly feels like a serious sci-fi version of Groundhog Day. Director Louis Morneau maintains a tense pace throughout the movie. Kylie Travis does a solid job in the lead role, and James Belushi clearly relishes the opportunity to overact as the crazy character. Overall, it's a low-budget but well-written and underrated retroactive time travel thriller. Before achieving mass success with his hit The Mummy, writer and director Sommers made a much bloodier and more critically criticized film about deep-sea monsters, Deep Rising. A massive ocean liner sets sail, carrying a wealth of billionaires, celebrities, and a casino with high-rolling gamblers. Naturally, such an event attracts high-tech pirates who can't resist the opportunity. But it's not just the pirates who have their eyes on the passengers and crew. It turns out that a sea monster has already made its way onto the ship in search of lunch. Essentially, this is a horror comedy with sci-fi elements set on a cruise ship. The film is packed with blood and action scenes. The special effects for the time are below top tier and now look worse than those in The Mummy. But that's understandable given the budget. The sea monsters are generally decent and sometimes even manage to create a real sense of danger. Above all, the film is interesting as a step in the evolution of Sommers' craft and a test run for the techniques that would later come to life in the cult classic, The Mummy. Set in the near future, the film follows Frank, an electronics expert, his mistress Noel, and his friend Sam as they pull off a heist at an international shopping center, stealing diamonds worth a fortune. However, unaware that Frank has hidden the diamonds, his friends betray him, and he ends up in an experimental prison where typical escape prevention measures aren't used. Instead, each pair of prisoners is fitted with collars that are linked on the same frequency. No one knows who their pair is, but if they get more than 100 yards apart, the collars will explode. Wedlock has something undeniably enjoyable and thrilling that you just don't see in modern films. It's an unusual, fun, sometimes absurd and very ambitious movie. It might have even had a shot at becoming a cult classic, but unfortunately it never had a theatrical release. It went straight to video and TV.